think I just broke something. Damn, I definitely cracked something for sure. Ay, ay, ay. Hey, but no matter what people say, exercise is good for you, okay? So, kids, always make sure to exercise every day, okay? Now, if you watch UFC and you watch MMA a lot, then you probably already know who Nate Diaz is. So, I'm not going to give too much big of a summary here. But the reason why I'm covering him right now on this channel is because he's giving himself credit for bringing the cannabis company Aurora Cannabis into the UFC. So basically what he's saying is, so the company Aurora Cannabis, they're currently a sponsor for the UFC, and Nate Diaz is saying, well, I'm the one who basically got him in, so I deserve credit for, basically bringing, the company into, the UFC and allowing them to become a sponsor for the UFC. Alright, so this article is coming from MMA News, and the title of the article says, Nate Diaz takes credit for UFC's CBD sponsorship. And of course, what the title is referring to is, of course, what I just alluded to earlier, that, the UFC has a sponsorship deal with Aurora Cannabis, which, of course, as the name suggests, is a cannabis company. It specializes in CBD. They currently have a sponsorship with the UFC, and, the whole premise of this article is that Nate Diaz wants to, take credit for, bringing them in. So starting off with the article, the top of the article says, Nate Diaz makes it clear that he feels he deserves credit for the Ultimate Fighting Championships UFC sponsorship deal with Aurora Cannabis. Aurora Cannabis is a licensed cannabis producer based in Canada. Nate and his brother Nick has been long advocates of marijuana. In one of the most memorable moments at a UFC press conference, Diaz busted out a vape pen with CBD oil following UFC 202. And the one interesting thing about that incident is that Nate Diaz was actually given a warning for using the vape pen. This was, of course, after UFC 202. This was after his fight during that match, and he was using a vape pen that was laced with CBD, and he was giving a warning for using it. Now, the article doesn't really state, but my guess is that, this incident may have, occurred like before, UFC had like the sponsorship. So that incident in UFC 202, that was in 2016. I don't know like when the UFC decided to partner with Aurora Cannabis. So, this might have been, like before, the UFC decided to open up, to like cannabis. Of course, like they're a lot more open, like now, when it comes to, their users using cannabis, than it may have been like back then. So that might have been the reason why the UFC decided to give Nate Diaz a warning back then. Now, one quick thing to note is that while he was given a warning, there were no kind of like penalties like given him. So I guess like that's one good thing to be positive about. During his appearance on ESPN's Orel Huawei MMA show, Diaz said he should be thanked for the sponsorship deal via Bloody Elbow. And then here they quoted Nate Diaz, "Did you see that CBD deal I got for the UFC? They got a huge deal. You're welcome, motherfuckers." Diaz went on joke about receiving a chunk of the $15 million deal. That's cool, but can I get my points? Laughs. Who brought CBD to the table? Now everybody has got these CBD sponsorships. Now it's in football and basketball, and it's legal. Now, on that football note, now I don't know much about like basketball on that end, but on football, not yet, but hopefully very, very soon. Of course, I covered an article where the NFL is currently like looking into studies of marijuana in order to like evaluate like its benefits for its players. So the rules for marijuana might like change for the NFL, and hopefully it does. But for right now, as it currently stands, players in the NFL can't really use any kind of cannabis or even CBD products, at least as far as I'm aware of. UFC is paid out. Everybody's in the cannabis movement now because of your boy. I appreciate the love from the UFC for showing who started this gangsta shit. Man, Nate Diaz really knows what's up. Now the question does stand. Does he really deserve credit? And like if he does, like how much? Now, from what I've seen, I do think that he does deserve like a lot of credit because, not only, was he like someone who probably like brought, this company into the spotlight, Aurora Cannabis, but he was also like a big, proponent of, like marijuana and CBD to begin with. I mean, like, he even got in trouble for like using that vape pen in UFC 202. So, you know, it's not like, you know, like he's not like everybody else. So he's not like a bunch of like other, you know, like players, like not only like in the, you know, MMA field, but in a lot of other sports where, you know, like they're getting into, you know, like marijuana. Like now, he was a big proponent of it, like to begin with. So I do think like on that front, like he does like deserve like credit, because like I stated with the Ben and Jerry example, you know, like a lot of people, they're just trying to, you know, like catch a trend, you know, because CBD is becoming like more and more popular. But with the case of Ben and Jerry's, and also to an extent Nate Diaz, they're walking the walk and talking the talk, meaning that they were already big proponents of cannabis like to begin with. So, you know, like the fact that they were like proponents of it, you know, does, you know, deserve like a lot more credit than a lot of other people that are just like getting into it because, you know, hey, it's just a trend. And then the article wraps up by saying, Diaz is scheduled to take on Anthony Pettis at UFC 241 on August 17th. It'll be Diaz's first fight since August 2016. Now that is a really long time to not fight. That's like almost like 3 years or so. So I hoped he's all prepped for that upcoming fight. Now, unfortunately, I don't have too much money to pay for a pay-per-view, but if you want to help your boy out on that, you know, go ahead and let me know. I could always use a good pay-per-view to watch, especially if it's a UFC fight. So that's going to go ahead and wrap up this article. So this was a short article, and I just wanted to like cover it because I found it interesting, to be honest. And I think that some of you may find it interesting as well. But let me know what you think in the comments like down below. Do you think that Nate Diaz deserves like a lot of credit for bringing Aurora Cannabis in the UFC field? And if so, let me know. And if not, then also let me know as well. Then that's going to go ahead and wrap up this video. Now, if you want to watch all my videos whenever they drop, make sure to subscribe. You can do that by pressing this button right here. Or if you want to watch my most recent video, click this button right here in order to do that. That's going to wrap it up for today. I hope all of you have a good rest of the day. And until the next one, take care, everyone. Peace.